Hello book lovers, welcome to Uncommon Reader. My name is Daniela, coming to you today from California. I know you probably expected travel and reading vlog by now, but unfortunately that will take me a little longer to edit. But I thought I'll come to you today with interesting video because I happened to spot a very dear book to me while I went to the San Jose library. And I was picking up some books I want to read during this time that I'm spending in California, all of course English reads. And I spotted this book on a shelf and I immediately recognized the book in question because it's one of my favorite books that I've read in the past few years. And the name's author was standing out there. Let's see if I don't get any reflection from the window. Viola Ardone with The Children's Train. She is a Latin and Italian high school teacher. She's wrote a few books. I've read 3 books from her so far, and this one is my favorite. The other 2 are still great, but this one is particularly a favorite of mine, and I will explain to you why a bit later. But I wanted to share this story with you and read you a few pages. We are in Naples in 1946. Together with hundreds of impoverished children, 7-year-old Amerigo Speranza is sent to northern Italy to live temporarily with foster families. Though the end of fascism has given Italy hope, the war has left the country in devastation. However, in poverty-stricken Naples, life must go on. 7-year-old Amerigo Speranza scrapes by on odd jobs and street smarts, as his distant mother Antonietta works to ensure their survival. One day, word comes of the children's train. This rescue operation is said to be for the greater good, a means to send southern children north to families that can provide them with food, warm clothes, and shelter, if only temporarily. Though some fear the train will take the children to Russia for hard labor, Antonietta has no choice but to let Amerigo go. Soon, Amerigo and hundreds of other children depart Naples, journeying across the peninsula. Once in Modena, he is welcomed into the world of the Benvenuti family, filled with school, music, farming, and a pantry full of mortadella and parmesan. They're a perfect match, until the time comes for Amerigo to go back. When he returns to Naples, 6 months later, his hometown's deficiencies are all too apparent, and Amerigo begins to pine for the Benvenutis and warmth he left up north. The choices young Amerigo makes will follow him for the rest of his life. Already a bestseller abroad, The Children's Train, in this English debut of one of Italy's best new talents, through the unforgettable voice of Amerigo, Ardone examines the meaning of family and faith with subtle humor and sensitivity. Before I begin reading, this book reminded me of another book I read by Romain Gary, Life Before You. I hope the name of the book is correct because I usually get it wrong, but I'll leave the cover right here in case. They both have a special narrator, a child. And looking things through the eyes of a child, for me, makes the journey of reading very, very special because they share this ingenuity and a sense of curiosity, and even when the topic is pretty difficult to face, there is some lightness to all and a sense of hope. So let's dive into the first chapter of the book. Amerigo is, of course, the narrator. Mama in front, me behind. Mama strides through the narrow streets in the Spanish Quarter. It takes 2 steps of mine to keep up with every one of hers. I look at people's shoes. Shoes with no holes in them equal 1 point. Shoes with holes in them minus 1 point. No shoes, 0 points. New shoes, I get a star stud price. I've never had a pair of shoes on my own. I wear other people's shoes, and they always hurt. Mama says I don't walk straight, but it's not my fault. It's other people's shoes that are the problem. They are the shape of the feet that wore them before me. They've taken on their habits, walked on other streets, played other games. By the time they get to me, what do they know about the way I walk or where I want to go? They need to get used to me little by little, but then my feet grow and the shoes get too small for me, and we're back to square one. Mama in front, me behind. I have no idea where we're going. She says it's for my own good. There must be a catch, like when I had a lease. It's for your own good, she said, and then she shaved my head so I look like a melon. Luckily, my friend Tommasino got the melon treatment too, for his own good, of course. The kids on our street teased us, saying we look like skulls that had escaped from the ossuary at Fontanelle Cemetery. In the beginning, Tommasino wasn't my friend. One day, I saw him steal an apple from Capagianca, the vegetable man with a barrow at Piazza del Mercato. And I thought we could never be friends because Mama Antonietta always says we may be poor, but we're certainly not thieves. Better beggars than thieves. But Tommasino had seen me and had taken an apple for me too. Since the apple had been given to me, and it wasn't me who stole it, I finished it off. I was so hungry, he could see it in my eyes. We've been friends since then. Apple friends. Mama walks right in the middle of the street and never looks down. I drag my feet and count points so I don't get scared. I count up to 10 on my fingers, and then I start again. When I get to 10 times, something nice will happen. That's how the game goes. Until now, nothing nice has ever happened to me. Maybe I count the points wrong. I like numbers quite a lot. Letters, not so much. One by one, I can recognize them, but when they are all mixed up into words, I get confused. Mama says she doesn't want me to grow up like she did, and that's why she sent me to school. I went, but I didn't like it one bit. For one thing, the kids were yelling all day, and I used to come home with a headache. The classroom was tiny and smelled like sweaty feet. And then I had to sit still all day at my desk in silence and draw rows and rows of straight lines. Our teacher had a pointy chin and spoke with a lisp. If anyone copied her, she would whack them on the head. I had 10 whacks in 5 days. I counted them like my shoe points, and I didn't get a prize that time either. After a while, I decided I didn't want to go to school anymore. Mama wasn't happy about it, but she said at least I had to learn a trade, and so she sent me to collect rags. At first, I liked it. My job was to go from house to house or down to the garbage dump, pick up old rags, and then take them to Capa and Fierro's market stall. After a few days, I was so tired from the rounds that I even missed the whacks the pointy chin teacher had given me. Mama stops in front of a gray and red building with big windows. It's here, she says. This school looks nicer than the last one. It's quiet inside and there's no stench of feet. We go up the second floor and they make us sit on a wooden bench in a corridor until a voice calls out, "Next." Since nobody else moves, Mama thinks we must be next, and we go in. Mama's name is Antonietta Speranza. The signorina waiting for us writes her name on a sheet of paper and says, "This is your last option." That's when I think, okay, Mama's going to turn around and go home now. But she doesn't move. Do you whack your students? I asked the signorina, covering my head with my arms just in case. She laughs and pinches my cheek gently without squeezing. Sit down, she says, and we sit down facing her. The signorina doesn't look a bit like my last teacher. She doesn't stick her chin out, her smile is full of straight white teeth, her hair is cut short, and she wears pants, like a man. We sit in silence. She says her name is Maddalena Criscuolo, and that maybe Mama remembers her because she fought to liberate us from the oppression of the Nazi fascists. Mama nods her head, but I can tell that she has never heard her name before today. Maddalena tells us that during the 4 days of Naples, she had saved that bridge at Rione Sanità because the Germans wanted to blow it up with dynamite. In the end, she says, she was given a bronze medal and a certificate. I think she would have done better with a pair of new shoes because she has one good shoe and one with a hole in it. 0 points. She says we have done the right thing coming to see her, that most people are too ashamed, and then she and her comrades knocked on every single door in the neighborhood to convince mothers that this was a good thing for them and for their children. She also said that they had a lot of doors slammed in their faces, and a few curses too. I can believe it because when I go and knock on doors looking for old rags, people often cuss at me. The signorina says that a lot of good families have trusted them, that Mama Antonietta is a brave woman, and that she is giving an important gift to her son. I've never had a gift, except for an old tin sewing box I keep my precious things in. Mama Antonietta waits for Maddalena to stop talking because talking is not her strong point. The woman says kids should be given a chance, but to tell the truth, I would be much happier with a slice of bread with ricotta cheese and sugar on top. I tried it once at a party I crashed with Tommasino, held by some Americans. Old shoes, -1 point. Mama doesn't say a word. That's why Maddalena keeps talking. We've organized some special trains to take children up north. My mother finally says something. Are you sure you want him? Look at this kid. He's sent by God to punish me. Maddalena says they'll put a whole bunch of us on the train, not just me. So it's not a school, I finally realize, smiling. Mama isn't smiling. If I had a choice, I wouldn't be here. This is my only choice. So see what you can do, Mama. We leave. Mama walks one step ahead of me, but more slowly than before. We walk by pizza stall where normally I would be pulling on her skirt and wailing until she walloped me. This time though, she stops. Pork rind and ricotta cheese, please, she asks the boy behind the counter. Just one. I hadn't asked for anything, and I realized that if Mama, on her own accord, decides to buy me fried pizza for a mid-morning snack, there must be a catch somewhere. The man wraps a piece of pizza as yellow as the sun and as wide as my face. And I'm so scared I'll drop it that I'll grab onto it using both hands. It's warm and it smells delicious. I blow on it and the aroma of olive oil fills my nose and mouth. Mama bends down and looks me in the eye. You heard what she said, right? You're a big boy now. You'll be 8 soon. You know the situation we're in, don't you? She wipes the grease off my face with the back of her hand. Come on, let me have a little taste, she says, twisting off a corner of the dough with her fingers. Then she straightens up and starts for home. I don't ask her anything and set off after her, Mama in front, me behind. So another short chapter, and we are in the train with Amerigo and a few of his friends. Now that they've taken our coats, how are they going to recognize us? Mariuccia asks, worried sick. Well, by our faces, right? Tommasino answers. But how will the communists know who I am and who you are? We all look the same to them, like Black American soldiers do to us. We're all kids who are dying of hunger. There's no difference between us. How are they going to give us back to the right mama at the end? I think they did it on purpose, a kid with a yellow hair and a gap 3 teeth wide in his mouth says. They must have told our mothers to take our coats so that when we get to Russia, they can't find us. And we'll die of cold, another kid next to him adds. Mariuccia looks at me, her eyes welling to see whether this is true. Did you know that in Russia they eat babies for breakfast? The boy with gaps in his mouth says to Mariuccia, who is as white as a sheet. Well, they'll be sending you back then, since you're all skin and bones, I say. And anyway, who told you we were going to Russia? I heard we were going up to northern Italy. Mariuccia looks a little calmer, but the boy with the straw-colored hair goes on. They only say northern Italy to convince our mothers. But the truth is, they're taking us to Russia and they'll put us in houses made of ice, with ice bed, ice tables, and ice sofas. Mariuccia starts crying silently. Tommasino holds her hand tight while her tears fall onto her new dress. Sure, we'll have a nice granita then. What flavor do you like your water ice, Mariu? Lemon or coffee? Comrade Maurizio comes into our compartment with a tall, thin man wearing glasses. The kids start teasing them. 4 eyes, goggles, blinkers, you name it. Be quiet, the lot of you. You may not know it, but if you're on this train, it's all thanks to this person here. Who is this person then? The short dark boy asks. My name is Gaetano Macchiaroli, the man in the glasses says, in good Italian, not dialect. My main job is making books. We are so quiet that anyone would think our tongues had actually been cut out. I organized this trip for you, together with other comrades. Why? What do you get out of it? You're not our father or our mother, the short, dark-faced boy challenges. He's the only one that isn't scared. When necessary, we're all fathers and mothers of those in need. That's why we're taking you to stay with people who will take care of you and treat you as if you were their children, for your own good. So are they going to shave our hair off so we look like melons? I ask, almost in a whisper. The man in glasses doesn't hear me. He waves his hands in the air as if he's saying goodbye. Have a great trip, kids. Be good and have fun. When the tall, thin man leaves the compartment, nobody dares to breathe. Comrade Maurizio sits down right next to us and opens the ledger. Since you all decided to give your mothers your coats with your names and numbers written on them, I think it's just because they could sell it and make a little money out of them, he looks each and every one of us straight in the eye. Now we have to identify you again from scratch. In this ledger, there are all the lists of all the children, car by car. He says he wants to know our first name, last name, mother's name, and father's name. We answer one by one, and he pins a card with our name on the sleeve. When it comes to the blonde boy with no teeth, Maurizio has to ask him his name 2 or 3 times, but he never opens his mouth. He pretends to be deaf and dumb. Maurizio tries calling him different names to see if he will react. Pasquale, Giuseppe, Antonio, nothing. Maurizio gets fed up and goes to the next compartment. Why are you playing deaf and dumb? Tommasino asks him. You were driving the poor guy crazy. The blonde boy gives us a nasty smile. You'd have to be dumb to tell them your name, he says, making a rude gesture. How will they identify you then? Mariuccia asks. Aren't you scared they won't give you back to your mother? My mother? The blonde boy says. She's the one who told me that anyone working in contraband should never, ever tell anyone their names and where they live and who their family are, especially to the police. The blonde boy makes a face as if to say he's better than us and knows things we don't. We're all quiet. Him too. I'm pretty sure he's getting scared that after acting so smart, they won't know who to give him back to. After a while, another signorina I haven't seen before comes in. She sits down with the list in her hands and starts again. When it's my turn, she asks me my name. Amerigo Speranza, I said. Age, 7. Father and mother, Antonietta Speranza. And what's your father's name? What does he do? I don't know, I said, flushed with embarrassment. You don't know what job your father does? She asks. I don't know if I have a father or if I don't. Some say I do, others say I don't. Mama Antonietta says he left. Pacchiocchia says he ran away. Pacchiocchia is one of their neighbors. Shall we write missing then? Can we leave it blank so when he does come back, we can fill that in? I ask. The signorina looks at me, lifts her pen, and moves on to the line below. Next, she says. Well, I hope you got captured by this story. As you can see, there is a little humor and that curiosity, of course, that million questions that kids do ask, and especially in this situation. So the communists are, of course, responsible for this beautiful, generous act of organizing these trains, actually based on true events, not specifically the story. There's actually a journalist who wrote a book that was his personal journey, because he was one of these kids, and I yet have to read that book. I'm going to leave the cover just in case here on the screen. So I'm particularly touched by this book because I didn't really know about what had happened with these trains and during this difficult economic time for Italy and the South in particular. And if you put yourself in these kids' shoes, you can definitely understand all the fear, but also this curiosity that I was talking about at the beginning, because of course they live a very poor life and this was something new for them, and in fact it opened up opportunities. If you decide to give this book a try, you will also see the side of Amerigo as an adult, looking back at what happened, and also reflections about his difficult relationship with his mom. As you've seen, Antonietta wasn't someone that was very warm and talkative, and so they always had a very complicated relationship. But it happens a lot, you know, when there are strong personalities, and I think of Amerigo with such affection, and I hope you give this book a try. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would be curious to know what you think about these couple of chapters that I shared with you. Let me know in the comments. I thank you for watching, and I look forward to be back hopefully later this week with my usual Friday video, and hopefully by then I will have edited probably the North Carolina vlog first and then the California one. I'll try to divide the two trips, and also share a book haul, because I have been making a few purchases in North Carolina and California, so I'm very excited to share these books with you very soon. Thank you again for watching. I'll wait for you in the comments, and I'll see you soon here on Uncommon Reader. Take care and happy reading.